Crews are making some progress, though, in cleaning up the mess left by this blizzard.
But there's still a whole lot left to do. News 8's chief political correspondent Mark Davis live at the State Emergency Operations Center at Hartford, where Governor Daniel Malloy set to speak at any moment now. Mark.
Hi, Keith and Ann. Good evening, everyone, once again from here. We think this is going to be the last formal event that the governor will have. He was in Milford and New Haven earlier today. Those are urban, densely settled situations, and those are the kinds of places, not unlike Waterbury and Hartford and Bridgeport, where the cleanup is going to be going on probably for the rest of this week. And that was part of the news that he got. The National Guard has provided some stuff from other states, and they have been deployed, and the governor, I believe, is going to tell us about that right now.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We are now 3 days out from a historic winter storm. Historic is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but this one certainly was. New accumulation totals, historic totals in 7 out of 8 counties, I remind everyone. No matter how you add it up, it's a lot of snow. The Lieutenant Governor and I have traveled the state to see the damage and the misery that's been caused by this storm. We have done our utmost to be of a support to local municipal governments in every way we could. We are pleasantly aware that the National Guard has done an outstanding job in helping municipalities through our offices, and particularly in getting people to hospitals with Humvees, as well as moving dialysis patients from many of the most stricken areas to get them to where they needed to be. We saw that in the eastern portion of the state and the western portion of the state. It really has been quite remarkable. We also can tell you that now many municipalities are reaching out and helping other municipalities, and we've seen that happen time and time again, and we're very grateful for all of that. The Department of Transportation reports that the its main roads are now 95% free of snow debris. Probably will get to 100% overnight. We'll pay more attention to some of the secondary state roads and widen those in the coming days without the contracted employees which we released to municipalities. Our rail system will be back in full service tomorrow, we are informed. That's an important development for anyone who uses that system for daily commutation. We are continuing ourselves to help cities with heavy equipment, both our own, that is state equipment from time to time, our National Guard, as well as National Guard equipment that has been moved from other states to Connecticut for this purpose. I was in New Haven and Milford today. In both cases, we were able to provide both equipment and bodies to help in the recovery in those communities. Let's see. It's going to take us a little longer to get back to normal, but we are rapidly getting there. And with the work that's going to be done overnight, I think many folks will feel that we're approaching tomorrow, or at least by midday tomorrow, some level of normalcy. With that, I'd be happy to take some questions.
Does your forecaster agree with everyone else? It doesn't appear as though this weekend event is going to be anything to worry about, or what
our
is he
forecaster
saying?
reports that we may see short of the weekend as much as 2 inches of snow, and it looks like the weekend storm that some folks were fearing looks like it will be out to sea and not affect us.
Do you have an idea of cost yet?
Oh, it's a ton of money. That's all part of what will go into getting our. If we're going to get another level of declaration, that's the information we have to get. And we're not playing games here. I'm not pushing municipal governments to give me those numbers while they're out trying to make sure people are safe. We'll put that data together in the coming days and weeks to argue for a higher declaration from the federal government that would be more assistance to our citizenry.
But you wouldn't get it in all counties. Which county didn't get the record? You said it was 7 out of 8.
I'm not sure which one.
Was it Litchfield?
It could have been Litchfield.
Yeah.
I think it was Litchfield.
So that could portend getting the declaration for 7 out of the 8 counties, right?
It could. The rules that FEMA has with respect to snowstorms are pretty tricky, quite frankly. And for instance, the new threshold is made more difficult because of the storm we had in January of 11, believe it or not. So the bar keeps getting moved as we have these larger weather events. I should note one other thing and answer additional questions. With respect to collapsed buildings, we're up to 120 agricultural buildings at this point, and that's a self-reporting mechanism, so that those are going to come in for a period of time. Coops was the number one, greenhouses was the number two, and barns were the number three in that category. We're also continue to get more information about structural damages to houses.
Livestock losses?
I think in one case we had some small amount of livestock, meaning cows, and we undoubtedly lost some chickens.
And no poultry. Now, will this declaration help them? Those farmers?
The only thing that this will make available to those farmers and producers, at least under the standard programs, would be low-cost loans if they don't qualify for other commercial loans. But we'll argue the best case.
Are you satisfied with the pace of the cleanup in the city of Hartford specifically?
You know, I'm trying to do my best not to get dragged into a city by city review. Quite frankly, we have assets in play in Hartford. We'll have more assets in play in Hartford tomorrow. It is the capital city. It's the insurance, one of the insurance centers of the world. We want to make sure that it's up and running as quickly as possible. I'll leave it at that.
All state employees on the courts open tomorrow?
Yes. All colleges, to the best of my knowledge, are open. I do ask that students check the appropriate websites. UConn is already open. Courts will be open. State offices will be open.
When do you think things will return to normal, and are you recommending people add time to their commute?
You know, I spoke to probably 35 first selectmen and mayors. It's quite clear that it's back to normal in a lot of places already. And in even areas that had were fairly adversely impacted. But, you know, a lot of this impact has to do with density of population and distribution of automobiles, quite frankly. So the more dense the population, the more automobiles on city and town streets, the further behind those communities are in responding and getting on top of this. The second part of your question?
No, I was just going to say it took me 45 minutes to drive 6 miles.
Yeah, well,
during a rush hour commute that doesn't include state employees.
Right. No, I think that has to do more with efforts to clear those avenues that are ongoing right now, so that tomorrow is better. And there was an accident on 84. And there was a fire on 84 in West Hartford. So it's a confluence of events. The boulevards or avenues are constrained in Hartford because of moving and widening of streets. 84, 2 accidents in either direction causes a problem.
So full service to Grand Central Station tomorrow morning.
That's what we have been told, including New Haven. So from New Haven on down, we had only partial service from New Haven. We have been led to believe that full service will be available tomorrow.
Are you aware that if there are still any neighborhoods that really haven't been cleared out yet? 'Cause I know that there are some that just today are finally getting the plow.
I was in New Haven today. I was told that all of those streets had been opened. I was in a number of communities that believed that by tonight, and spoke to a couple of mayors and first selectmen that believed that by tonight there would be at least a path through every street. I'm not aware of a town where that's not expected to be true. Hamden was absolutely pounded. I have to say the Hamden Public Works Department and their mayor are doing an outstanding job, but they were absolutely pounded, and they're having a hard time. Bridgeport, because of the nature and the density of the population, absolutely pounded. They're digging out, and I believe right before I came in, I was told that there either will be have opened or will be open the majority, the vast majority of the streets.
Going back to 84 East, it's taking 2 hours to go from Farmington to Hartford. Any reason? Do you know why? Maybe the cleanup had to start.
On what?
The bulk of it on 84 East during rush hour.
I happen to experience these. There's an accident. There's 2 accidents on 84. So what happens then is 84 traffic is then diverted to Avenue traffic. And major cleaning efforts to widen those avenues by tomorrow morning is underway. I think they're trying to cancel some of that, but it really has to do with started with a fire of a vehicle at about 4 o'clock in West Hartford on 84 going east, and then an accident on the far side, going west, the far side going east, and it's just a gigantic backup.
But that could
Did they have to actually cancel some of the cleanup? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think they were trying to pull some of the cleanup off of the avenues that they were working on because of the backup on 84, which is forcing people to get off. I got caught myself. That's why the reason I know enough about this is I got caught myself.
Right, but that could happen any day. I mean,
it could, except that the avenues are narrow right now, so I think these things are related, but made worse by that relationship.
What's the commitment to the municipalities? Like Milford, I think, has some equipment, and others that have gotten this equipment from out of state, the National Guard stuff that came from Maine and Pennsylvania. Are they going to stay here for the rest of the week?
I think that's a military decision. We want them to stay.
Well, aren't you the commander?
Not of other people's troops. So you asked me about people who came from out of state.
Right.
With respect to our state assets, of course, they're going to continue to be distributed. With respect to out-of-state assets, I guess when they're in my state, I'm the commander, but not with respect to their ability to return to those states. So we want it to stay. This is some pretty good stuff, some pretty big stuff. We have some of that ourselves, but we reached out to get more of it because there's really almost nothing better operating on the streets than some of this heavy military equipment. Okay.
Are you planning on any alternative plans to deal with the upcoming possible 2 inches of snow, and what is that supposed to be?
I got to tell you, we're not going to sweat 2 inches. We were sweating 20 last night. So obviously, again, my job is to maintain through the DOT, the state highways and road system. We can handle 2 inches. 2 inches will add to some level of misery, but my hunch is that by the time we get it, we're going to be a lot further along. I mean, if you look at the amount of progress that's been made in every 24-hour cycle, it really is quite remarkable. If you look at it even in 12-hour cycles, it's quite remarkable. People have worked unbelievably hard. First responders, public works departments, mayors, first selectmen, to the point where people are now sending equipment across municipal borders. It really is quite extraordinary. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished. Because we've had a reoccurrence of these events, the level of people working together is really quite extraordinary. And I know when you're the person who's in misery because you don't have the access, it may be hard to see. But what has transpired, I don't think would have taken place 2 years ago. We've learned a lot. We work hard at it. We examine every one of these incidences, and then we improve our performance. Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Governor.
Thanks.
So that's a bit of news here with regard to agriculture in the state. Of course, this always happens when we have these very, very big, heavy snowstorms. 120 agricultural buildings lost this week. Those are barns and chicken coops and greenhouses. And again, with regard to the next step on the declaration from the federal government for small business loans and what have you for the agriculture and everyone else. It looks like it would be 7 out of the 8 counties. Looks like Litchfield may not qualify because they're the only county that didn't get a record snowfall. And with regard to rail service, the governor says he's been assured that we will have full Metro North from New Haven, full rail service to Grand Central Station starting tomorrow morning. Live from the Emergency Operations Center at the State Armory in Hartford, Mark Davis, News 8.